welcome. I'm Christine. And first project here of our 3 wood projects is going to be these little wood rounds I'm using. I either got this from Hobby Lobby or from Temu. This one is a smaller one. It does not have the holes up top, but I'm just going to use a little piece of ribbon to hang from because it's real lightweight. I'm going to use this, I think it's cheetah print stencil that I have. I'm going to use that, some black chalk paint for the stencil. I'm going to do white all over the front and the back of the board. I'm going to use this grateful sign that I got from Hobby Lobby, and I'm going to use my antiquing wax to stain that. You can use gel stain or whatever, but I'm using just antiquing wax to stain that with. So you can see me here, I'm gluing it. Now you can't really tell that I've painted it white, but I did. Once I do the stencil in the black, it does show it real well. So I'm just eyeballing about the halfway point. I am using a combination of a stippling and circular motions just to push that paint in there, but not get it up under your stencil. So that's important. Lots of times I will tape down my stencil along that top line just to hold it in place, but this one held down pretty good. And you can see that these stencils are made for wood rounds, but they are actually made for the larger ones. So you just have to, place it where you can to get that good effect in there. Now when you finish stippling and doing your circular motion to get your stencil in there, just make sure that you lift straight up. You don't want to transfer any paint that might be up underneath or rub your paint that you just laid down, so you just want to make sure that you lift straight up off of your project. Now I'm going to let that dry. Then once I let that dry, I went, see, you can tell that's painted white now. It's very, very stark. It's a color called fluff, and it does really look like a bunny rabbit fluffy tail. So I am just taking my paint. I put it on that little wood stick. That's craft stick. I get this with my art supplies painting. And so I wiped most of the paint actually off the brush, but I'm going to go around the edges, around the top, just to tone that white down a little bit. And that's called dry brushing, you guys. So I just want to take that white and make it not so starch. And then I did stark. And then I did go over that cheetah print as well. So I'm using a combination of wood glue, and this wood glue came from Dollar Tree, and hot glue to lay down my sign. And then I decided I do need a bow. It was missing something. So don't be afraid to mix your patterns, because in the end it's going to look so stinking cute. You're going to love it. So I just tied like the awareness ribbon, and then I'm going to use oh my gosh, I can't even think of what these things are. Why did that just leave my head? Anyhow, you guys know what these are, I think. Anyhow, so I'm just going to use this. You can use ribbon or whatever, but this just ties it very taut because you can pull it really tight. So I'm going to use that, and I keep those in my supply for my ribbons, y'all. And then once I got my ribbon down, the tails were kind of covering up the wording and not laying right, so you can always bunch them, take a little bit of hot glue, and lay that down. You'll see the final project in the end, so you guys got to stick all the way to the end with me, please. Project number 2. This is kind of a beachy project, but it's getting that time of year. So this relax sign I got from Dollar Tree. This little bottom piece, I got those from Hobby Lobby, and I'm going to say a couple came in a pack, maybe. I am using chalk paint, and that is a Dixie Belle color in sea glass. How appropriate is that? I'm going to use that antique wax again. I'm going to use some shells those came from the Dollar Tree, and those little pebbles actually came from the Dollar Tree as well. I'm going to stain my little wood block, my base, with the antiquing wax. I just do one coat. It looks real heavy here, but then I just kind of smooth that out all over so it doesn't look quite as heavy. You can actually come back with a baby wipe or a wet wipe, Lysol wipe or something other, and bring that back if you want to, just to tone that down. I'm taking the sea glass and I'm getting a pretty good coverage on the front, but on the tops and bottom of the letters and on the back of this, I wasn't real concerned about full coverage. So just keep that in mind, that I'm not real concerned about the full coverage look, because I like it looking a little bit more natural and organic. So I'm just going to paint this. Then you're going to see me, after that's dry, I'm going to use a combination of my handy dandy nail gun, and I'm measuring out my brad nails here. They weren't quite long enough, so I just switched out to some longer ones. I looked for the replacement of the sign. I just put a few of those into those letters, so you're going to have to do some kind of just eyeballing it real good of where to put that on the bottom. But I came up through the bottom of that base with those and the wood glue, and just wiped back the excess wood glue, and you can't tell the wood glue was there. Now, for these little pebbles, I wanted to get kind of that water effect, stones on the beach. So you got to lay down a lot of hot glue, I figured out. So I laid down a little base, took my little pebbles, just sprinkled them on there, had to come back with some more, sprinkle them on top. I tried to use my finger to push that down. All that was doing was pulling up off of the base. So I figured out you just got to come back with a lot of hot glue and put that on top. But that's fine, because that kind of adds to that water effect. So it took a lot of hot glue. I only kind of put it off to that one side, not the complete bottom. Again, stick to the end to see the finished, but then I glued those shells off to the side too. Project 3's easy. I had this in my stash. This is either from Dollar General or Dollar Tree. And it just has that shiplap wood effect. That cute little bunny transfer is a redesign with Prima called the Cottontail collection. So I painted my sign just one good coat. Actually, I didn't really get full coverage, but I did the sides and the top. And to bring out more of that shiplap effect, I am using, this is an art pen, but you can use a Sharpie as well. And just go along in those little cracks and make those cracks a little more pronounced with that black. So I just kind of like that look. Then I'm just going to lay down my transfer, and I'm showing you laying this down a little more than I normally do. And the reason being is because this has little divots in it, little cracks in it. So I'm going to make sure with my transfer tool that I am pushing that transfer down into the crack. So the bottom lettering, after I kind of get this where I want it and eyeballing it even, it did move a little bit on me, probably because of me having to push that into, but I didn't want to have to cut it. And in the end, you'll see me when I'm doing my burnishing, and that's when you take that top vellum piece that you're moving that rub-on transfer tool on. That's when you turn it over to the slick side, and you're pushing that transfer down into your project just to marry that with that paint. I even took that vellum and I creased it and ran along that crack. It did pull up a little of that transfer, but only on my vellum piece and only what was in the crack, so that it looks like just one piece laying across. It doesn't look like you've cut it and put it together, if that makes sense, but you'll see in the end. Now you could certainly add a ribbon. I did not, as cute as it is, but his little pink ears, it's hard to see how cute pink they are, but if you had a pretty pink ribbon, that would look so cute on this piece. But this is simple. We're done. This is a little shelf sitter. You can certainly have it where it was hanging, but right now it's a little shelf sitter. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. These are quick and easy, I know, but sometimes you got to throw those in there as well. Time sensitive, it's easier to me to make these little short videos. These are easier, but I promise you, stick with me. Give me some likes, comments, smash that subscribe button. We're going to have some harder projects coming up. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Enjoy the rest of your week.